Welcome, Guardians. My name is Blargnot, but please don't hesitate to be more familiar with me and call me V. I'm a huge fan of the Destiny franchise, and I absolutely love the lore of the universe the writers at Bungie have created. I've decided to periodically make videos concerning the universe that many of us don't necessarily see in-game, so I can hopefully extend my own enthusiasm about the lore to as many other players as possible. So, I hope you enjoy. Let's dive right in. Today, I'd like to explore a great bit of lore about a legendary hunter and a group of guardians, all hunters as well, that while not very important to our own Guardians storyline, makes up one of my favorite facets of the Destiny universe. This is the tale of Legend of Shinobu and the Six Coyotes, a legend which I believe can be a huge source of pride for all hunters. It starts in a village named Coyote, a village seen as doomed to many, as the fallen House of Kings has set its sights on it as a target to be pillaged. 2 guardians were in the village at the time, a female exo called Mika 10, and a human called Konar. Knowing they would be vastly outnumbered, and the defense of Coyote would be futile, Mika 10 attempted to recruit more guardians to their cause, and ultimately 3 guardians answered her call, an exo called D4, and 2 awoken, Nadia and Theron Vi. Somehow, Shinobu became close, relatively speaking, to the hunters defending her home, close enough to be giving them tours of the perimeter and of potential vantage points. In her interactions with the hunters, she learned about guardians in detail for the first time. In the lore tab for the 6th Coyote, we hear some of her first conversations with the guardians who would later be known as the Coyotes. I took the 3 new guardians for a tour of the Tall Walk today. 2 of them are blue. Actually, truly blue. I can't stop staring. Their names are Theron Vi and Nadia. The third is an exo, Lee 4. Theron noticed my staring and laughed at me. Never seen anyone this good looking before, have you? Never seen anyone blue, I said. Theron tried to explain about the Awoken. He didn't know much. He doesn't remember anything since becoming a guardian. Then how do guardians pick their names? I asked. According to Theron, exo-guardians usually remember their names, but that's it. Awoken and human guardians remember nothing, so they just pick new names. So I asked them why they chose theirs. Theron puffed out his chest. His armor looked like it had once been really fancy, but it was scuffed and dirty from the road, and said, "Because it sounds awesome. Remember the name of Theron Vi. It's the name of the guardian who will find the lost war mind Rasputin." When he said that, Lee 4 managed to look exhausted, which is impressive for an exo. The card continues, and here we get to learn the motivations behind a couple of the hunters who answered Mika 10's call to arms. Theron talked about Rasputin and the Baikonur for a while, so to sidetrack him, I asked Nadia where her name came from, but she just rolled her eyes. I don't think Mika's paying me to chit-chat. "You're getting paid?" Theron said. Lee 4 elbowed him hard. "Ow! What was that for?" "To remind you why we're here," said Lee 4. It was practically the first thing I'd heard her say. "Why are you here?" I asked. She fixed her electric eyes on me. "Old debts." "To Mika?" "No." Nadia slouched against the Tall Walk parapet, her head flung back to hang over the side. I thought about pushing her over. "Good luck with that, whatever that means," said Nadia. I'm all about new debts, preferably other people's debts to me. Just then, Leaf swung the sniper rifle off her shoulder so fast it almost cracked Nadia in the head. Leaf fitted the scope to her eye and held the weapon perfectly still, without even leaning the barrel against the wall. A pause filled only by Nadia's complaints. And then Lee fired off a shot. On the horizon I saw a shadow fall. "Fallen?" said Theron. "Kings," Lee confirmed. Knowing their motivations at the start of the story is key. Throughout the events involving Coyote and the Six Guardians, including Shinobu, we can watch as, for example, Nadia's intent to earn pay and Lee Four's concern over old debts pivot instead to fierce loyalty and a sense of duty, as the group forms camaraderie and solidarity. Previously, Shinobu had wanted to escape Coyote because of a desire for freedom and the fear of being slain by the Fallen while being trapped there. Again, from the Six Coyote, we hear from Shinobu. "Only one thing scares me more than dying, and that's dying inside these walls." Also, from the exotic armor piece Shinobu's Vow, we hear Nadia said, "Shinobu and I were going to skip town. She told me I, Shinobu, had realized there was no stopping the Fallen, that her village, Coyote, was doomed." To illustrate more clearly Shinobu's state of mind before the king's attack, we can read from the lore tab of the Bandwagon, an exotic ship. Well, Mikaten and Konar found 3 more guardians willing to come to Coyote. None of them look thrilled to be here. I wonder what Meek is paying them. When I asked her if the 5 guardians would be enough to protect us from the kings, she launched into a speech about how being a guardian means protecting people no matter what. I know what that means. 5 is not enough. Everyone here is going to die. I could run. Same fantasy I've been nursing for years. Rappel down the eastern tall walk, make for the coast. Connor says that tunnel I can see from the tall walk, it's full of fallen. Open spaces like the road are safer. With this information, I could probably make it 10 whole kilometers from the village before I'm killed. That's 4 more than I could have otherwise. Maybe it's worth a shot. At this point, we have to assume that the Fallen commenced some sort of attack on Coyote, because Yormor Shinobu lost her life before she could act on her desire to escape her home. However, in a truly miraculous sense, this is when her story, in fact, begins. On the same day as her death, she was resurrected by what would be her new ghost. Typical of most, if not all guardians, Exos may sometimes remember their old names, but that's all. Shinobu do not remember anything of her past life, even though the period between her death and resurrection was minuscule. I should note, however, the majority of the lore tabs referring to the legend of the Six Coyotes are actually pages of a diary she had been keeping since before her first death, and as you may imagine, she had the diary on her person when she was killed. This means that she learned her old name and many of the past events of her life before she was a guardian almost instantaneously after her rebirth as a hunter. We hear her reaction in the lore tab of Shinobu's Vow. "I don't know how to write this. I died. Well, Shinobu died. This is hard. But she must have kept this journal for a reason. So here goes. One of the hunters, Nadia, told me most guardians were dead for centuries before ghosts found them, when all traces of their first lives are long gone. Nadia is a name she chose for herself. Shinobu isn't your name anymore, Nadia said. It could be, I said. The newly risen sixth member of the group, which would come to be known as the Coyotes, wanted to uphold her vow to protect her old home. So leading the band of hunters, Shinobu went back to Coyote. While we don't know for certain what exactly happened to the town, I think we can safely assume it had been pillaged by the fallen, if not entirely razed, because of the flavor text of Shinobu's vow, which reads, "No supplies, armor in tatters." But the refugees had asked for help, and she had given her word. The fact that there were refugees almost definitely means that Coyote had been abandoned. So instead of defending the town, Shinobu and the Six Coyotes' goal became the defense and escort of refugees to, presumably, the last safe city. From here, the legend of these Six Coyotes only grew. Shinobu, in fact, was known for her incredibly strong arc light, and still is known as one of the strongest blade dancers in all of Guardian's history. Directly after helping the refugees, the six hunters deciding to band together became the first Guardians to explore the Cosmodrome, and became known as the Six Coyotes because of their feat. Now, with a bit of lore released with Forsaken, we're able to glean some more information about Shinobu's past, as well as Mikaten's and the Coyotes. Shinobu was one of many Guardians who took part in the Great Ahamkara Hunt. In the lore tab of Chattering Bone, the Last Wish pulse rifle, we learn that Shinobu's interaction with one of the infamous Wish Dragons resulted in her desire to talk with her deceased mother being realized. Nadia sipped her tea, calm and collected. Shinobu sat back, looking perplexed. Really? The entire summer? The serpent that claimed to look like her mother sat across from the two of them, smiling broadly. Why would I lie? I'm telling you, the whole summer you wore that dress. We had to tackle you to get the thing off of you, get you to bathe. The serpent plucked the dainty cup from the white saucer and set it to her lips before continuing. Your brother called you stink bug for years, until, you know. Nadia reached over and took the other hunter's hand in her own. It would lie because it's fulfilling your wish, Nobu. Shinobu searched the serpent's face. Her mother just smiled again, all teeth and secrets. Shinobu felt tears at the corners of her eyes. Her voice was barely a whisper. Okay. Now. The burst from the pulse rifle was loud, and Nadia pulled the trigger again and again and again. Again, while not being very important to our own Guardian storyline in the Destiny universe, I love this piece of lore for many reasons. It fleshes out a legend about an incredibly powerful hunter, and it demonstrates the serious side of a class that is often ridiculed by titans and warlocks because of the stereotypes of hunters being cocky, full of jokes, and often having more selfish motives, when in fact, the underlying natures of hunters are comprised of strong loyalty, dedication, and self-sacrifice. The legend also tells a story about Earth post-collapse, and the stories of Guardians who took it upon themselves to help vulnerable people outside the city, or perhaps even before the city was established. Another example of this would be the Takanomi Rangers, but that's a story for another time. To conclude the story of the Coyotes, I'd like to read the last entry introduced with Forsaken that concerns Mikaten, and her involvement in the Cosmodrome. In a letter to an old hunter vanguard, Tallulah Fairwind, we find out that Mikaten acted as a ward for unpaired ghosts who were looking for their guardian partners, and was ultimately responsible for finding the one and only Andal Brask, the Hunter Vanguard before Cade 6 took the position. Protector of Ghosts. From Mika 10 to Tallulah Fairwind. Category 5-sat bounce. Priority 3. Hello, old friend. I have a knack for finding hunters. Another of my little pack has found her partner, a human male, and now the two of them are coming to you by watercraft over the Pacific. Keep an eye on this one, Talu. He has taken the name Andal Brask, and I believe he will be trouble. Perhaps all this travel has made me sentimental, for when one of my ghost wards finds their guardian, I am sad, because my pack grows smaller. I miss them when they are gone. Now I am down to one ghost other than my own. Pup, we call him, the runt of my metallic litter. Pup has yet to speak, but always his little blue eye searches for his guardian. I plan to resupply at the Cosmodrome and then take Pup north. Those steppes are uncharted territory, except by that lone wolf Konar. My correspondence with him is regular in the outbound direction. I consider myself lucky when he answers every 5th message. Still, you and I both know his intel is good. No one else knows old Russia like he does. Perhaps in the Cosmodrome I will find a ship capable of breaking atmosphere. Though there is much of this Earth I have yet to see, I have come across more than a few ghosts who believe their guardians are off-world, waiting in the Golden Age ruins of Freehold and Ishtar and beyond. Some of these little lights have decided to brave the Null on their own to reach their fated partners. I tell them there's still so much of Earth we've yet to sniff out, that perhaps their guardians have not yet been born, but some of them are convinced. If my next ghost pack wants to make the journey, I am determined to join them. These last few months, we've enjoyed the pleasant absence of Cyrell. Now I feel more confident that we lost him in Australis. If he tries to hurt my ghosts, I will rip his throat out. I hope you're not feeling too cooped up. You're still doing good work, Talu. And as they say, better you than me. Your faithful den mother of ghosts, Mika 10. Well, folks, that's just about all I have to share with you about this particular legend today. I find the stories of the early Arisen, as well as the origins of powerful and important guardians, fascinating. So I hope all of you watching found this tale as interesting and entertaining as it was for me to make. I would like to give special thanks to My Name is Blythe and Mylan Games, who sparked my obsessive interest in the lore of Destiny's universe, as well as Pause Reset Play for providing an awesome and incredibly supportive community who took me in with open arms and never seemed to waver in their hospitality. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or concerns, and be sure to let me know what you think about this tale, and also what you thought about this presentation as a whole. Your input is invaluable to me. Also, be sure to tell me what other topics you might like me to cover in the future, or if there is anything in the lore that you don't quite understand and would like me to try and flesh out and clarify in a future video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to show me by liking and sharing. As far as hitting the subscribe button, that would also be appreciated. However, I don't have a schedule for upcoming content in mind, and I'm not entirely sure how often I'll upload. And to finish up, please consider clicking some of the links to some of the YouTube channels I've listed down below, especially Pause Reset Play, who regularly streams Destiny 2 and dedicates most of his time to help other players through endgame content and acquire elusive gear. Once again, I remain Blardnoth, and remember, eyes up, Guardians.